Nobody fart.
Don't tell me what to do. It's America.
You don't control my anal functions.
The Midwest, home sweet home in good old Indiana. Place of small towns, cozy families gathered together, and fields of corn and rustic woods. But, like any town, there is a dark underbelly that often goes unnoted. We are part of that darkness. We lurk in the shadows to bring you the best in horror, metal, and stories of the grotesque. This is Blood in the Cornfields.
All right, well, welcome everyone. We are Blood in the Cornfields, our amazing podcast here that we got going on.
Hell yes.
Yes, sir.
Today, we have a different episode than we've done. We're going to talk about metal. Metal. Who I have with me, so you can't tell, but
Yes.
I'm going to start with my right here.
So, of course, I'm Ivy. I have a very interesting smoker's voice going on, so I hope you like it. It's very sexy.
Very sultry.
Ooh la la. I'm Lucien. I'm a youngster right here.
You're the youngest
I'm
one
a
of the group.
youngster, and they're all gonna pick on me and bully me. But I'm just chilling. I'm just chilling.
I don't know. I think your name's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Sounds like
I'm
a
an
name after
evil
the guy from
wizard.
Underworld.
I can see you in like black metal face paint with that name in the woods, like banging logs.
That's
Yeah.
funny. That's funny because low key, I do that. I'm a huge black metal nerd. I'm a dork.
Awesome. Sweet. Well, I guess kind of just thoughts I had for this, but yeah. Sorry, I skipped over you.
Oh, no.
Sorry.
Yeah, this guy's not important.
I'm
You'll find
Neil.
out later.
I used to be a metal singer in a band with Marc,
Nah.
and then another band, and now I'm a tattoo artist, and I draw stuff and paint
hell yeah.
stuff.
That's metal.
That's
Metal
right.
as fuck. Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Well, kind of getting into things, my curiosity and where I think I would love to kind of start and talk about is like our backgrounds. So like what got you into metal? Like what are your first memories or first bands you like or whatever? So since you have a mouthful, I'm going to go to you.
You're going to be first.
Yeah.
All right, well, that's what I get, huh? So how did I get into metal? So my beginnings start with my dad. My dad was actually a big influence for everything I know I've talked about in the podcast before. My dad got me into horror as well.
Yes.
My dad got me into Nightmare on Elm Street, so that was my introduction to horror. My introduction to metal was, funny enough, Dokken.
I whispered Dokken. I don't know if it picked it up. But
Yeah.
I said Dokken.
Dokken and Van Halen and Def Leppard. God, what else did my dad listen to? He listened to like AC/DC and all these other and Rat. Were some of the bands that he loved, and Quiet Riot was another one, and Skid Row. Oh God,
Row, yeah.
there's just so many that he liked. He grew up in the '80s, so of course he liked a lot of those bands. My dad is a very eclectic man, so like hair metal was a big thing that he liked, but he also liked his pop. He liked his Michael Jackson. He liked his other things like that from the '80s, and so, but the metal for whatever reason stuck with me. And from that point on, I tried to discover new things, whether it be through other friends that I had like throughout elementary and middle school that were into the same things, especially when I got into like the skater, era of my life.
I was in that too.
And so you start swapping more things and hey, have you listened to this band? Hey, have you listened to this one?
Yeah.
We're out in the skate.
Did you have like a core group of friends that also listened to
Yes.
stuff that you did?
Yep. Sure did. And that's kind of how we got connected, and I started learning of different bands. I think Iron Maiden was like the first time I was introduced through another good friend of mine. He wore an Iron Maiden sweatshirt to school all the time to the point that it stunk. Dedicated fan. And like I just was so curious because the image was of Eddie with the axe. It's the first album cover, And I was just like, that looks neat. What is it?
Of course.
And then got an Iron Maiden. I mean, fuck, I got the poster.
Yeah.
I love them a lot. So yeah. No, but like that genre of metal introduced me to more.
Yeah.
And I'd say like, again, my dad helped me discover more metal because he took me to my first metal show.
Okay.
Yeah. And it was a local one, though.
Who was it?
So, funny enough, it was like a Christian metal show because I also have a Christian upbringing.
I played with those bands. There's actually some really kick-ass ones later on that like down the line that yeah, definitely.
Ours, so we actually went to, oh God, what was it called? The Rave back in the day.
The rave.
The Rave, yeah. And it was...
Like a church?
Nope. It was a little building up here on Main Street. And it's
never
been...
played there. I don't
It's
think
been
we've
like
ever played there.
EDM places and all this other stuff, later on. But they did a lot of metal shows there for the longest time. And I remember I went to go see War of Ages. It was the metal band that I went to go see. And God, they blew me out of the water. I was like, oh, this is so awesome. Because before that, I was like listening to O Sleeper and Demon Hunter.
Demon Hunter's
wicked.
Demon
I like
Hunter's
them.
really good. They one of my favorite songs is it's Demon Hunter and Speed Stride Bjorn from Soilwork.
Oh my God.
It's a great song. It's really rhythmically awesome too.
Nice.
But yes, no, Demon Hunter, I've liked them as well too.
Demon Hunter, I think, transcends like all like genre. Well, not genres of metal, but like if you're a metalhead, you've run into Demon Hunter at some point in your life.
Right.
But that's kind of been my metal journey, is just like humble beginnings, and then I slowly got into it. The more shows I went to, the more I became involved with the metal scene, started learning about new bands, started going to more shows that were further out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. How old were you like when you first started to kind of get into?
So I would say, okay, like first metal show was in high school.
Okay.
I was a freshman, sophomore,
Gotcha.
somewhere around there. And then I really started getting into it in college and afterwards. So yeah, say like 16 on was the real start of my metal journey.
Real metal.
That's right.
real stuff. Not a freaking poser.
That's right.
So what about you?
So for me, I didn't have as cool of a dad as you did. My dad, he really liked Def Leppard, especially in high school. Then, like you said, some stuff like Skid Row, Twisted Sister he liked, but he really didn't get into music a whole lot, and he listened to, I would say, more country and bluegrass than he did hair metal, but he was always like, I don't like that growling shit.
Oh my God.
He was like, you can't even understand what they're saying. It's just yelling. All that kind of stuff, So he really didn't get into that. For me, I would say I really started with that Christian metal stuff.
Hell yes.
What are some of the? I want to curious. What is some of the stuff? Because I had some of that too.
Skillet. That was a huge.
Oh my
God!
Huge one.
Fucking
They're coming to the 4-H fair. I almost want to go, man.
I go for nostalgia. Skillet.
Like that's what I cook.
I remember
my burgers in.
Yeah.
Who's coming to the 4-H fair?
Skillet.
Yeah.
Skillet. Skillet.
I don't know them.
They're like a Christian.
Very Christian.
I guess I wouldn't call them metal. They're more rock.
They're rock.
Okay.
But they try to appeal to that audience.
Sure.
And I remember like 6, 7 years
Edgy as
old.
fuck.
I was like, this is the most badass shit I've ever heard.
Help me tonight. I'm closer to the edge tonight. Standing on the ledge. So why won't you reach out your hand and save me tonight?
That's awesome.
And there was also this band called Red. I don't know.
Yes, Red.
Yeah.
I love him. That bald man. He was so cool.
They have, I honestly, they're not too bad. I listened to them some not too long ago.
Yeah.
Let's say they're kind of new metal-y.
Yeah,
but they
more
have
new
a lot
metal.
of like melodic kind of stuff I really liked. It was very dramatic, and that appealed to like 10-year-old me because, I was going through the hardest thing anyone's ever dealt with.
I think the song "Breathe Into Me" was like the coolest thing ever.
Yeah, that was real shit. But then my next step in getting to metal was power metal because I'm a huge fucking nerd.
Sure, no, that's all right.
I think it kind of started with Manowar. I really listened to because that kind of gets the transition from more of that hair metal stuff, getting into the real nerd shit. Because I was like, they've got swords, it's boobs, all that stuff,
Loincloths and fur undies and
that's what life is about to a 12-year-old.
Yeah, never knowing if the ball's gonna pop out on stage.
yeah. I was like, what do 12-year-olds like more than beefy, oily men? I guess I don't know. Happy Pride Month.
That's right.
That's so high.
But then starting getting into even more nerdy shit. Like, what can I think of? Like Hammerfall or whatever. Hammerfall.
Probably Dragon Force.
Dragon Force.
Ailstorm.
Ailstorm. I listened to Ailstorm pretty heavily, probably till I was like 14.
I know
even.
you're into werewolves, so just like me, I'm a big werewolf nerd. Powerwolf.
Powerwolf, that was my shit.
I love
Evil werewolf priest. That's what it's all about. And
That's what they
we
were.
drink your blood
When the midnight sky is red.
And I was like, I was a real edgy kid.
Sweet.
But then, I started getting into a little bit of death metal, and I still not too deep into death metal. But,
Gotcha. I tote the line with death metal because, like, I don't like when it's growly vocals, and I cannot understand what you're saying.
I'm not like huge into like gutturals and stuff. I really do prefer more high pitched stuff.
Yeah.
Which is why I probably like black metal so much. That's I would say my biggest genre. I really fucking like black metal. Holy shit! No way.
You don't say.
But yeah, I'm really not sure where I hopped off from like the power metal stuff to like heavier stuff. I think like 2019. Like when COVID started and stuff. I being really isolated and everything. I started like really pouring into that stuff.
Got that mayhem vibes.
Oh God! Fortunately, I was never a mayhem kid.
No, no, you weren't that.
Now I see it. On like fucking like TikTok and stuff, like these 14-year-olds getting into mayhem, and they skip through all the cringy power metal phase. Yeah, and they just go straight to mayhem. And then they're only black metal bands they know: Mayhem, Burzum, maybe shit. I don't know. That's it.
I was like, not the commercially stuff like Cradle of Filth.
Yeah, not really. Not really.
So fun.
I know.
I don't know.
Apparently, you did a song with what's that ginger dude? That writes terrible shit that I don't like. What's that ginger kid?
That ginger.
Ed Sheeran.
Ed Sheeran.
Yeah, they did a song together.
Oh God.
I don't know if it was just Danny or if it was full on Cradle Filth. But yeah, him and Ed Sheeran, I think is his name. Yeah, they did a song.
I hate that guy.
What?
I was honestly, looking for it, but I don't think it's been fully recorded yet.
Wow.
I probably like Ed Sheeran and Cradle of Filth the same amount, I would say.
I loved Cruelty and the Beast though. Like that was one of my go-to albums because of the fat bald-headed drummer is like a fucking machine. Yeah. He is a machine. I forget his name.
Well, that's the thing with you in drumming. You're really into that like the mechanics.
Yeah, a lot of the bands that I listen to, like the drummers are absolute top notch, absolute top notch. But yeah, I'll get into that a little bit later.
Yeah, I would say Anyway, getting into more heavier metal is 16-year-old me wandering around in the forest listening to shitty atmospheric black metal.
Right. Right.
You're 100% right. I was so edgy. And then also, when I was 16 or maybe 15, I got really into dystopia.
Gotcha.
And I was like my favorite band. I still listen to them pretty regularly.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can't think of a whole lot more to say about that. I'm just an edgy black metal nerd.
That's cool.
It's really not, but it's a fun time.
It's
a
cool.
fun time.
I would love to see you swinging through the forest in black metal paint and just being like,
right. Have you seen the Call of the Winter Moon music video, Immortal?
Yeah.
Funny as shit. Yeah, that was me. Actually, that was me.
I love that.
I watch it at least once a month.
That's how I feel about like Candlemass. I love Bewitched. I will watch that fucking music video.
Definitely top 3 music
my favorite
videos
thing.
for sure.
Box.
No,
So what about you, Mr. Neil?
Well, I just wanted to make a funny that if somebody goes, hey, have you seen that black metal video? You go, is it the one where they're in corpse paint and walking through the forest? Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what I'm talking about.
That
one. Oh, boy, let's see. I was 12 or 13, and I was hanging with my buddy Josh in South Bend, and he had a drunk older brother who was a complete asshole, but we used to steal his tapes. And we got a hold of Ride the Lightning.
Oh, wow.
Back when they were fun. Before Cliff Burton died. And it blew my fucking mind. And we also got a hold of Ministry. Wait, can I cuss?
Yeah.
Yes, cuss.
Shit.
Please.
Shit.
Fuck.
Cock.
Yeah.
Yes.
I got a hold of Ministry Psalm 69 and Metallica Ride the Lightning. And they blew my fucking mind, changed my world forever. And then, of course, like got into like Megadeth and Exodus and stuff. But
Yeah.
then I had like kind of a dark period where I was like, Korn is fucking and I got into
Start
them.
playing bagpipes and shit.
Yep. And I got into them. But the good thing about Korn was they led me to a lovely little band called Sepultura. And I heard the album Roots. And then I heard Chaos AD. And then I heard Soulfly's first album. And oh my God, that opened up a whole new world. And from there, I had my little, Slipknot phase. And, obviously I got into stuff like Rammstein. And then I met these dudes that were really arrogant and pushy, but our drummer was nice. And these two dudes, Nick and Chad, that were the guitarists in our band, that were total stuck-up elitist assholes. They got me into Slayer, and they got me into shit. Oh man, God, they opened up a whole new ball of wax.
Yeah.
They got me into Slayer, and from there I found like stuff like Pig Destroyer.
Nice.
And,
Pig Destroyer, dude.
Destroyer. Oh. It's funny that Pig Destroyer was originally for grindcore. It was some of the first emo core.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
It was labeled emo core. If you guys ever hear the band Pig Destroyer, anybody listening, holy shit! The only reason they got labeled emo core is because they weren't like Brutal Truth, and all their songs weren't about
Yeah.
political takeover and throw Molotov cocktails at a Texaco building, and like, because they had songs. Hey, this girl's really bothering me, and I want to talk about murdering her in a poetic way. They were like, "You're emotional."
It's emo shit.
Actually, no, J.R. Hayes is psychotic, but he'd probably be killing people if he wasn't in Pig Destroyer. So I got into that, had a fun time for about almost 2 years playing in a band with Marc and those two dipshits. The thing that pisses me off about that band, though, is that the music we were playing, all right, so we were all 18, 19, 20 at the time.
Yeah.
The music we were playing, these two asshats wrote when they were 13 and 14.
Oh fuck.
So it wasn't that it was still good, but it wasn't that complex. And then they played two songs for us that they wrote recently, like within the past 6 months, and it sounded like Decapitated or something. It sounded like 10 times more complex than what we were playing. And me and Marc were like, dude, why aren't you guys letting us, if I'm being too loud in the baby's
No, you're fine.
I
You're
get
fine.
excited about my metal.
No, B.
We said, why aren't we playing this new stuff? Because this actually shows your talent. And they're like, we just don't want to let go of these songs that we wrote when we were 13, 14.
Oh my God.
And then the bass player ended up screwing over our new guitarist, and he got addicted to heroin, and I think he's dead now. And anyway, so that shit hit the fan.
All right.
I got into another metal band. That band was called Pain Slave.
Which I can say I always fucking hated that name. I thought it made it sounded like a
cringy.
BDSM grindcore.
Yeah, like
Like we're gonna come out with like a
100%.
penis in a leather halter or something like that.
If you
Spikes
would've.
all over, and
If you would have, it could have
Neil
been
would
goth
whip me
metal
on
band.
stage or something. Yeah,
So the band got yokoed by our bass player
that.
because Chad left.
we did.
Chad left for California to go do Full Sail or something, or I don't know, suck somebody's dick. And then, not that there's anything wrong with that. And then, so the new guitarist, he had a girlfriend that was had been his girlfriend since freshman year, and he was a senior. And the bass player started banging his girlfriend, and somehow tried to convince us that he had it coming, and it was real psychotic and narcissistic.
I got thrown into that shit
Yeah,
too.
we all got thrown into that. And we wash our hands of it. Me and Marc still talk. We don't talk to those pricks anymore. And then I got in a new band when I was like 28, like 10 years later, called November Threnody, which was actually they weren't playing stuff from 6 years ago. They were actually playing stuff that it was fun. One of these days I'll get you that so you can burn it.
That's awesome.
Pain Slave, and I'll give you a copy of November Threnody because it's pretty cool too.
Sweet.
I only recorded 2 songs with them, even though we were playing for 2.5 years, so that was really frustrating.
Yeah.
And then when they kicked me out, they recorded 4 songs with the new guy within like 2 weeks. I was like, oh, okay, fuck me. I told the rhythm guitarist's girlfriend's best friend when she came back from Daytona Beach that it looked like a tanning bed blew a load on her face, and apparently that was crossing the line.
Yes.
She was like darker than a Greek. She was like India brown. Like, oh my God. It just like, I know white girls like to tan, but damn, like this lady was, wow. They left, ooh. left her on the rotisserie too long.
Yeah.
So I haven't played any metal since then. It was fun while it lasted, and here I am. I'm just a metal fan and a tattoo artist and good stuff.
That's awesome.
Me
pretty
too.
epic.
Sweet. Well, yes, our backgrounds are a little intertwined, myself and Neil. Me starting out, some of the earliest stuff, I mean, probably when I was like 7, I have a middle brother who listened to like a lot of metal and punk rock. And so, like, one of his favorite bands nowadays is Municipal Waste.
Yes,
Cannot
nice.
talk. So you can kind of see the punk and metal merger there. But when I started out, Appetite for Destruction was like my shit. You know, Guns N' Roses, Appetite for Destruction. Rocket Queen, I think, is a highly underrated song. It doesn't get enough attention. And they give all the shitty songs attention, you know, like Paradise City and all that shit.
Right.
But yeah, that, like, I used to rake the leaves with my little Sony Walkman and my little shitty headphones
Nice.
with the squishy,
With the
foam on the
squishy foam,
end.
yep.
Yeah, and so that was probably the first, like, rockish, metalish, like, type of influence that I had. And then that led into Megadeth. I am a hardcore Megadeth, anti-Metallica on every level. I just...
the first 3 albums.
You can't convince me. Can't convince me. I've already drank the Kool-Aid. So yeah, no, Megadeth was huge, and then also, like Neil was saying, I got into Sepultura as well. For me, just rhythmically hearing like a lot of the Brazilian influences with the extra drums and all that sort of shit
Kind of tribal too.
was amazing. I was just like, wow, because I hadn't really got into drumming then. I started drumming when I was 17, 16.
Wow.
And yeah, like that was really big. And then Arise as well too, because it's very much like thrashy. It has those good tempo beats.
And we covered.
We did cover, which one was it? Was it Arise?
Oh, it's propaganda.
Oh, that's right.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, we did cover a Sepultura song later on when we were in that shittily named band.
Jack couldn't play the solo.
I didn't even remember that. And then I also got into Minor Threat. Very much kind of punkish kind of influence. The Crow soundtrack I have written down here. Like
Yes. Yes.
that was one of my favorite things to listen to for the longest time, and I loved it because like I'm not a Pantera fan. They just don't do it. For me.
Same. Me neither.
But that song that's on there is fucking top notch. That is such a great song. I know.
Dare you?
I know. I met Phil. Yeah, I met Phil.
And
So
you weren't even
little side note.
wasted.
So I lived in Austin, Texas for 11 years, and Pantera in that city and in that area is like God, is like rule, is like golden rule. So the bar I used to work at was a bar called Red Eye Fly. Used to be a bar called The Back Room. And from my understanding, in the early 90s, Pantera would play there when they were still glamish.
Wow.
My understanding, if I'm wrong, piss off. I'm just telling you as much as I can. So it switched to Red Eye Fly. So Phil and the band knows the owners, and they've known them from back in the day. So on occasion, Phil would come in, just like, you know, little bar, Austin, Texas. Like, it's kind of crazy. So one night, I'm on the back bar, I'm cleaning shit out. The other bouncer was a drummer. He was a really good drummer in a band. I don't remember what band, but he was way better than I am. And like the weirdest thing, so it's out, the bands have done, they're done playing, and I'm like sweeping and shit, and Phil's sitting on this little like bench area by himself. And the weirdest exchange. So my coworker comes, sits next to him, has a brief exchange of words, gets up, stands up, kisses Phil on his forehead, and then walks away. I'm like, what the fuck was that?
Wow.
I was like,
Wait, like another big dude?
Real.
yeah. Like I think this
I
kid's
can
name
see
was
like a woman doing that.
no. This kid's name was Andrew. He was a little bit bigger than me. Yeah, and like Phil didn't even react. Like that was like, you know,
That's
natural.
so funny.
That's like that like happens to Phil every day.
True bromance.
Feeling
So
romantic.
I was like, that was
Very romantic.
it was insane. But anyway, so that's my little
awesome.
Pantera story. But yeah, the Crow soundtrack, great, absolutely love it. I grew up listening a lot to the Misfits as well too.
Yeah.
So that was kind of, I had some punk influences mainly because my brother started listening to more to stuff like that. Faith No More was another big band of mine. Mike Patton, I think, is one of the best vocalists to ever touch a mic. And then the band Body Count, who we luckily got to play on the same bill as later on.
Wow.
You shared a stage with Body Count.
Yes, same
That's
stage. It was pretty
crazy.
cool.
Milwaukee Metal Fest. What was it? 2003 or 4 or
Something
2?
like that.
Something like that.
Yeah. I don't know. But yeah, Body Count was really cool because I found them because in 2000s, 90s, something like that, they were basically just making an album to piss off Tipper Gore because that's right when Parental Advisory took over.
Yeah.
And if you recall, like Dee Snider got brought into court and fucking slayed them. They thought he was an absolute moron. But he's not, and he's
did so
actually
good.
well educated. Oh yeah, he slayed them, made them look like fucking morons. But they basically, if my understanding, or this is how I interpret it, they made the album because her in a panel or herself, I forget, had to review every album that they were going to label parental advisories.
I love that.
So they actually made a song where it's like called KKK Bitch. And in one of the lines he says, you know, I went down south and fell in love with Tipper Gore's 2 12-year-old nieces.
Oh my God.
You know what I'm saying? So we was down south falling in love, you know. D-Rock had this Nazi girl, my man Moose Man had this skinhead. I fell in love with Tipper Gore's 2 12-year-old nieces. It was wild, you know what I'm saying? But it got even worse, you know?
So I just thought that was badass, but yeah, I
Slow down.
yeah. It was great. I used to have the original Body Count CD with Cop
Holy
Killer
shit.
released on it.
And they walked by us, and we said hi to them. They were about 10 feet away from us.
That's so cool.
We didn't want to run up on them,
Yeah.
but they were cool.
Well, with that album, it's unique because I don't have it anymore. If I did, I don't know, it might be worth something. So they released Cop Killer, and then it got so much backlash in the press that they had to pull the album off the shelves, re-release it without the song Cop Killer.
Oh my God.
So yeah, it was pretty
if you
crazy.
have a CD or vinyl or cassette of Body Count with Cop Killer on it, hold on to that or sell it for a lot of money on
Hell
eBay.
yes.
Keep that in mind.
Better you than me. Fuck
I should have
brutality.
invested in that 10 years ago. What was I thinking?
So, I mean, for me, you know, kind of. I don't know, set time.
We're doing good so far.
Cool.
Can I keep a track?
Good, because I'm not. I'm irresponsible. I'm irresponsible. Anyway, so like, I guess with my middle years and late years, they kind of blend together. For a lot of that, like, you know, like Neil had mentioned, we were playing in bands. I was playing in bands before that as well too. But for me, I want to talk about and shift to like favorite album and like favorite show that you've seen. So for me, I'll kind of go first because they're one and the same, pretty much. So for me, like I was listening to metal, like I said, some of those bands like Megadeth and Faith No More, Misfits, you know, Sepultura and stuff. And then I got a hold of At the Gates, Slaughter the Soul.
Ooh.
And that is, to me, that is the absolute best metal album. The
Is that the
pumping
one
drum
that's like...
beats. Yes, absolutely.
Okay. We are blind. Yeah, I love that album.
That's
I
right.
still have that.
Oh yeah. So if you haven't heard that album, me being a drummer, just the tempo of the constant back and forth with the drums at that tempo that they, I don't know. I don't know what the definition of the tempo is, but it's just that speed and that pace was absolutely fucking brutal. Like it, and Lindbergh's vocals are fucking spot on. They're just disgusting, but like you can understand them.
Did you ever hear that At the Gates cover band, the Black Dahlia Murder?
No, never heard of that. But yeah, that was my favorite album. I mean, those first 4 tracks on that album are probably my 4 favorite metal songs in existence. It's absolutely amazing. I cannot recommend it anymore. At the Gates, Slaughter the Soul, best shit ever. Leading to At the Gates for a while. Of course, they're foreign. I think they're from Sweden, which hell, everybody's from Sweden.
Right.
But yeah, so they don't come to the U.S. Well, they did back in the day because they've been playing for a while, and then they stopped making shit. And Thomas went off and did The Crown, and he did a whole bunch of other stuff where he was like guest vocals. I think he was on Old Man's Child for an album, I think.
Nice.
Maybe. Hell, I don't remember. He's done so much shit. But anyway, he went off and did a whole bunch of other stuff. And then they formed the band The Haunted with some of the members, like drummer and guitar player. So in Austin, I want to say it was before my daughter was born. In like, we'll say 2014, I actually got to see At the Gates.
Wow.
They came back. And so it was At the Gates, The Haunted, and Decapitated. And that was an absolute
That sounds awesome.
killer
That's
fucking
badass,
show. That
yeah.
was awesome. And it was in Austin. And Austin doesn't have like huge stadium venues other than where UT plays basketball, where like the UFC will have fights and shit. But anyway, like most of the venues are not that big. I mean, we're talking 300 people at this show. And it was absolutely amazing. I fucking loved it. And then that leads me to my other favorite one. I got to see Soilwork. I don't know if any of you like them.
Lucky bastard.
Yeah, so I saw Soilwork
Oh, I love them.
in a venue called Dirty Dog on 6th Street in Austin.
After what album
200,
came out?
200 max.
Like shortly
That
after
was
Saving the Drama,
Late for the
or-
Killing, Early for the Slaughter.
Oh,
That song was on it.
okay.
It's the one I think that has the blue and yellow swirly shit on it.
Yeah.
Dirk was still drummer.
Yeah, okay, I'm trying to think. Panic Broadcast, I think.
Yes, that's it. Yeah. Panic Broadcast, I think is the name of it. Yes. So I got to see them in a very, very, very small venue, which I was surprised they played. Like, we're talking 200 max, but this is all indoors.
Nice.
Where I saw out at the gates, I was up on a balcony. So, like, literally, I'm sitting from here to the wall of Dirk, the drummer, and just, like, watching him play everything and just, like, fucking blowing my mind.
I need to change shorts.
He's killing me. He plays for Megadeth now, which is like, dude, you just went easy. Like, you can play all Megadeth shit with, like, your penis and one arm. But, like, yeah, I got to see that, and it was great. You could get as close as you wanted. Like, Dirty Dog is a small, intimate place. Fucking awesome.
Sometimes
Absolutely.
those smaller shows are better than the bigger
They're
ones.
great. Sounded great. Like, energy was awesome. Yeah, that was awesome. So those are my things for favorite, like, album, and then also probably the best shows that I've ever been to.
Nice.
What about you?
What about me?
Yeah.
Man, I've been thinking about this whole time,
tell
but
us.
since you've been telling me, I'm like, oh shit. I knew I was bad. It was gonna be me. Okay, so as far as my favorite album, I'm gonna be so generic, and it's probably pretty obvious. It's Iron Maiden. It's Number of the
That's
Beast.
okay.
I mean,
Hell yeah.
I'm gonna go classic because I feel like the classic metal is kind of what I was brought up on, so that's where I usually start gravitating back towards. Man, Number of the Beast is one that just like it just makes me feel good.
Yes.
And I know like pretty much most of the songs that like I could sing them for you. There's a couple times during karaoke I'm like, yeah, I want to sing Number of the Beast.
Wait, they have that?
Yep. I sang it for a Halloween show and it was so fun.
I would only do Megadeth.
Hello, me, it's me again. Some dude but never chained me.
Like so much so that like the album is one that I played while I was pregnant.
Okay.
So Casper, I'm sure, has listened to a shit ton of them. So I know that he has because I have sang Number of the Beast to him, and he kind of like perks up. He's like, Mom? So he knows. So I'm glad I'm teaching him right. But like that's, I don't know, just that is the most metal album to me. Like if somebody asks me what's metal, here you go. Let me show you some Iron Maiden. I know it sounds so generic, but they're so good. I like them so much.
Fair.
But I'd say the best show that I went to is actually just before Casper. Well, okay. We have a feeling this is probably near close to the night he was conceived.
Oh boy.
But we went to Philadelphia for a vacation,
Okay.
and we went to a beer and metal festival. The headliners were Cannibal Corpse, where I got my shirt,
Sweet.
Nice.
and also Candlemass.
Okay.
And I had just got my husband into Candlemass because I showed him fucking Bewitched. And I was like, you need to see this amazing video. And I just, because we were popping up, like, I guess it was at a party, we were popping up, like, weird music videos we liked.
Yeah.
I popped that one up, and Luke's like, they're actually really good. One time I was having just a really bad day. He's like, hey, so I got to surprise you. You think you can get a vacation? I got tickets to this beer metal festival in Philadelphia, and I'm like, oh my God, dude, that's awesome. I got a wonderful husband. So we went there, and oh my God, they got one of the original singers from Johan from Candlemass to be there. It wasn't the curly haired guy, it was the original dude. And I was like,
Shit.
oh my God, they did so good. They played Epicus, Dumicus. Oh, the whole album. I was just like, everybody, as soon as Solitude came on, I'm just like,
Bro, I would have
please let
busted
me
a nut
die
right
in
there.
solitude.
You had to change your pants.
Oh my God, it was the coolest thing. And we were so close because I'm like, okay, Luke, Candlemass is coming. How close to the stage do you want to be? And
That's always the
Right
question.
up there.
and and I was just like, Luke's like, I don't know. I really haven't really been to many of these things. Anytime we go to metal shows, he's usually the dude in the back sipping beer. I'm always the one in the mosh pit going,
Yeah, that's how I am, minus the beer, but that's how I am. I'm watching the drummer.
so like,
the little head nod.
yeah,
arms
that's
crossed.
that's my husband, and here I am just making a fool of myself. Because it's just fun to do.
There's always one 5 foot tall girl in the pit going crazy.
And it's always me.
That reminds me of 3 Inches of Blood's Metal Woman.
Don't take it easy on me. I need this.
I can do that. That's right.
Come at me.
That's exactly. Wall of Death, I'm in the front.
3 Inches of
But
Blood
yeah.
wrote a song about it.
I love that. So yeah, we got up really close to the front. God, was it the most beautiful thing ever. Just hearing his voice and just
Now, he's got that deep baritone voice, doesn't he? Or am I getting mixed up?
he's got kind of a more baritone voice, but it's melodic.
It's just very
gorgeous.
epic.
Oh. Yeah.
I gotta check more of them out. I've heard 3 or 4 songs, but apparently I
Oh
need
my
to
God.
like really deep dive.
It's
into
like
Epicus Dumicus
top
is the
5
best
bands to sing in the
album.
car when you're going down the highway.
Oh, it is.
Sure.
Okay,
It is.
cool.
It
I
is.
sing me some King Diamond when I'm going down the aisle.
Oh,
King
man.
Diamond,
For
yes.
real, for
King Diamond
real.
and Billy Idol.
I love that.
That's my shit.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the best show, best album.
Sweet.
True.
What about you, Black Metal Harry?
Black Metal Harry.
My favorite album is Storm of the Light's Bane by Dissection. I don't know if any of y'all know what that is,
I'm
but
making a note.
God, such a basic album too. Y'all just don't know anything. But I don't have. I don't know shit. I don't have a whole lot to say about it except that I probably had the CD of it in my car for like 6 months straight.
So
when I was
what about
17.
it was like? So I said, with At the Gates, it was the constant tempo pumping. That's what I loved it. But what about that? 'Cause I don't know.
It's
I don't know
really
who they are.
it's a melodic black metal band,
Sure.
and so I don't know, just something about it it just sounds good. I'm not very good with the technical terms.
okay.
You know, I hear
What
shit.
did
I'm
it
like,
for
this
you,
fucking
though?
epic.
Was it like the melodies and stuff?
the
that you
melodies,
could
I
belt
was-
out in the car and shit.
For sure, and just like the tempo and everything.
Yeah.
I just find it to be a perfect album. There's not one bad song in there, in my opinion.
Sweet.
Basic albums, I guess I'll say maybe None So Vile, Cryptopsy. It's all solid. Fucking just the drums on that dude alone. Just,
Yeah, it's
Drums.
pretty insane.
and the riffs, it's one of those albums I'm listening to every single instrument. Like I just hear it different
Yeah.
every time.
I showed that to my girlfriend last week, and she was just like, "What is this?" I was like, "Listen closely."
Time to break up,
I was
dude.
like, listen closely. There's actual music there. She took about 30 seconds and she listened. She's like, "Oh my god, that's technical as hell. How do they?"
Yeah.
do that? I was like,
Yeah.
"They can do it live."
yeah.
Like
music
exactly like
geniuses.
that.
It's insane. I would give my left nut to see Cryptopsy live. I would
With
Oh,
Lord
dude.
Worm's crazy drunk ass.
for 100%. Show wise, as you all know, I am a youngster.
That's
I
all right.
really have not been to many shows.
Okay, is it appropriate for me to ask how old you are?
No, that's fucking
That's
personal.
totally
no,
inappropriate.
No, okay, take it again. I'm 19. I just turned 19.
Okay, that's
yeah.
too bad.
I'm not too little.
Jesus Christ.
So
You should be
mostly,
my kid's age.
I would
Friends have
say
kids older than you.
my favorite show would probably be any show in a sweaty basement that my friends are playing
There
at.
you go.
That's
I
always a
played
hell of a
those.
good time.
I played those.
Wait, do you know Colby Smoker?
I have no idea who that is.
Okay, he plays
A lot of-
black
a lot of
metal
people-
stuff in Elkhart.
Yeah, a lot more of my friends are more like South Bend scene, sometimes
Oh,
down
okay.
Fort Wayne and
Okay,
stuff.
do you know John and Nana?
Oh, Johnny, yeah, I think
okay,
so.
cool.
Yeah.
I just did his first tattoo.
That's
Oh no way,
Did that
dude!
kingpin on his arm.
That's crazy.
4 hours, 4.5 hours. Yeah,
that's awesome.
But yeah, he's
Sweet.
he's crazy.
he's a little nuts. Yeah.
But yeah, I'm a little scared of him, to be honest. But yeah, I think
I don't know how much we have.
No,
That's
no,
what
we're
I'm trying
good.
to say. I couldn't.
We're good. We're at the 40
Keep
minute
going, man.
Sweet.
I really don't have a whole lot of people in my life, especially like older, that want to go to shit like that with
You
me.
saying you need a pseudo father? Is that what you're
Yeah,
trying to
be
tell
my
me?
dad.
Be my dad.
Be my dad.
Can I still hold you? Is the question.
Let's go.
But I'm starting to get there, and now I'm kind of like, fuck it. I can drive 3 hours by myself and just, bump Cryptopsy the whole way there. I'll be fine. But yeah, getting out there more instead of just listening to black metal in the woods by myself.
So those of you who may not know, I mean, I don't know where this is going to be in the order of episodes, but we are like Midwestern based, just to give you an idea of where we're at.
That's
not
why
far from Chicago, not far from like Grand Rapids. So there are some stuff that's around, but
I feel like we're really centered between like Chicago, Indy, and Detroit. It's
We
like
are.
3 hours either way.
Ohio too.
Ohio,
They got some good shows.
yeah.
yeah. But kind of brings me to current, and I guess we can kind of just quick kind of go around. What are we listening to now? That's
Boy, you
like,
skip me.
Bro.
You
I
skipped
skipped
Neil.
I can't believe you.
Oh my
that's
god.
2 times. All right, Neil, you piece of shit. Go
Oh,
ahead.
you motherfucker. Yeah, favorite albums. I gotta say, probably Prowler in the Yard by Big Destroyer. Just
Real.
absolutely just disturbing, brutal. Got me through a lot of hard times when I had a lot of bad thoughts going around my head, and I was like, wow, okay, these people are just as fucking crazy as I am. And yeah, did a lot of crazy workouts to that. Never got to see them live because at the time they weren't really, they were only doing shows sporadically. So that kind of sucks. The time that I was into them the most, they weren't really doing live. And then just 2 more, Terrifier by Pig Destroyer, their follow-up album, Prowler in the Yard. Absolutely just brutal. I can't even describe it, man. Some of the lyrics in that are just they're dark, but they're some of the most dark, fucked up, beautiful poetry I can imagine.
Right.
And then to get a little more mainstream, probably Living Infinite by Soilwork. That's just an amazing.
Soilwork's probably my overall, if I had to say, favorite.
Oh my god, yeah, Living Infinite and Stabbing the Drama. And then best shows, I have 2. The first would 2 categories. One would be theatrical. That would be War. I saw them right after
Lucky
Violence Has
bastard.
Arrived. Yeah, when Dave Brachiotis Arugus was still alive. It was brutal. It was insane. They killed so many celebrities. They ripped Paris Hilton's face off. They killed W. Bush on the torture wheel. They had come out.
They
And
threw
fucking,
Jerry Springer in.
oh, dude, they didn't throw anybody into the thing. They had
The worm.
something different, but they Gorgor the T-Rex came out. Odorous got his dick cut off. Oh, it was
that's
crazy. I got sprayed with so much fake blood, piss, and jizz. It was nuts. And I felt sorry for the people who like actually didn't go there, knowing there were people like. There was like I only saw like 2 or 3 people. They were like, "What are they spraying us with?"
Oh my
and everybody
God.
else in the crowd was like,
Yeah,
"It's
why
you."
are you going to see Guar if you don't know that?
It was so funny. Me and the lady I was dating at the time, we were just laughing at him. So that, and then just the best show, hands down, I got to see Fear Factory in Milwaukee at a venue that was probably only built for 1,000 people, and 2,000 people showed up. So we were like this.
It's just like this.
The whole show.
Arm to arm.
But the cool thing about it
And up close personally.
was Fear Factory wasn't even the headliner. At the time, the metal world had this giant boner for Lamb of God, so they were the headliner. But I felt so bad for Lamb of God because half of the fucking people, 1,000 people left after Fear Factory was done, and Lamb of God had just half of the audience. in Fear Factory.
Wow.
Yes. Oh yeah, they didn't even
That's
care.
got to
And it got so
insane.
dude, when Bird Seabell was singing Resurrection, we were singing the melodic part so loud that he couldn't even hear himself. And with the last verse and the last bit, the conclusion of the song, he went, I can't even hear, and like just held the mic out, and we all sang it instead. It was so fucking amazing.
Wow.
I got goosebumps just thinking about it. It was an amazing show. Lamb of God put on a pretty good show, but Fear Factory actually they stole the show. Literally,
They stole the show.
half the people left after it was done. So those are my 2 favorites and my 3 or 4 favorite albums.
That's awesome.
Awesome.
Yay.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm of course partial to Lamb of God. I mean, you did
I know.
tattoo my
I know.
my calf.
Yeah.
They did a great show, but I felt bad for him. And the only weird thing about the Lamb of God show was there was a guy fighting the invisible ninjas. And, I never had the rhythm to do that.
my God.
And there was a security guard who came up behind him,
Man.
and he was like, he tapped him on the shoulder, and he turned around and he said, "Stop it!" And the guy went.
Yeah. That's
And security guard tried grabbing him, and they fought. And
Oh no!
hell yeah.
me and about 50 guys.
Oh my god!
Ran a perimeter. We locked arms and we blocked the other 10 security guys from coming in. We locked arms, we locked legs in some positions, and these guys beat the dog shit out of each other through, what song was it? The one that's like, fuck. It was,
How a few bars?
damn it. It was, now you've got
Something to die for. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, they started fighting right at the beginning of that song, and by the end of it, and I mean, it got full UFC. Like these guys were punching and kicking. Like there was blood on the floor.
Yeah.
I think there were definitely broken knuckles. There might have been broken face parts. And at the end of it, the security guard got him in a sleeper and dragged him off. And we unlinked. He won it fair though, and we were blocking the other security like fair fight, leave him the fuck alone, let these two men handle it.
Yep.
So yeah, it was interesting. Something like right out of a movie, dude.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that would have been fun to see.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
That's gonna be me one day. I'm up there, ugh. My like 5'4" ass. I'm gonna up there.
Man, but you don't karate kick in the pit.
I do a little bit.
Ah,
Dude, when I was playing like
It
starting
depends.
metal,
If I'm like at a hardcore show,
that hardcore
I'm not gonna
shit.
not gonna be an asshole at like if I'm at some just chill metal stuff. But like,
Goes out of their way to kick people. Yeah, he wasn't doing that.
What's
No,
my
he was
friend?
right in the middle of the pit fighting the ninjas.
yeah.
He wasn't bullying anybody.
I only crowd kill my friends. That's
Yep.
what it's about.
Yeah,
You just
doing
gotta
that
be
shit
an
to
asshole.
strangers.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm old school. Old school? I don't know what you call it. I don't know.
Circle.
I'm circle.
I don't like circle pit. I get dizzy.
I like
not
the
gonna lie.
circle pit, and also I'm more the type of person like I don't want that ninja shit in my pit. Get out of here.
you.
Thank you. I hate
Get
that
out of
shit.
here.
Did you
Y'all
see-
are old as fuck.
Yeah, I'm very old.
Crisis with that horse shit.
Get out of here. Give me a second, kid. Let me throw you out.
Yeah.
I'm not
Pick up your
paying.
change somewhere else, bastard.
Listen, I'm not paying $10 to listen to my friend's shitty grindcore bands. I'm doing it to kick them in the nuts.
Yeah, that's funny.
Oh, did you guys see that video? It was somewhere in Europe. Also, Parish had the record for the largest circle pit. I think they had
so
what was it?
fun.
It was like 20,000 or 50,000 people in a circle pit.
God, I think I saw that on Instagram. That's cool.
It was funny too because there's a telephone pole in the middle that goes up a little higher than
Yes.
the window, and a little guy a little bit smaller than you, he climbed up it, and in the video they did it in post. They had an arrow pointing to him, and he's looking down. He's all scared, and it said "pussy."
See, actually, that was me.
Oh, Lucien said it himself.
That's wonderful. Okay. So, have you ever been judged due to your metal or music taste?
Oh,
and also, do you have any
100%.
fun satanic panic stories? Because I'm all about that shit.
okay.
We are also a podcast that delves into horror, so tell me
Yeah.
this shit.
Yeah.
So,
Go ahead. You want to start off? Go ahead.
sure. So for me, okay, this is Lucien fun fact. I was completely homeschooled, like my whole life, like real homeschool, not online school, any of that shit. Like my mom taught me. Had the
Like
whole
never been to a
curriculum.
school, homeschooled?
Not one day.
Wow,
Not
okay,
at all.
interesting.
I never stepped foot in a public school. So obviously that's a very sheltered, conservative Christian group.
Upbringing, for sure.
And so for me to be, being evil and goth or whatever, just listening to that music like immediately made me like a bit ostracized. Plus, not being a Christian, I had my edgy atheist phase at like 12 years old, so I was immediately labeled kind of a bad influence.
Yeah.
To the point where I didn't know about this till years later. My friends' like parents didn't want them to hang out with me. So like I would ask them to hang out and they would have to say, "Oh, I'm busy.
Like
I can't hang out."
Yeah.
It was like a lie they made up. And
terrible.
the thing is, like, I didn't drink, I didn't smoke, I didn't party, do any of that stuff.
That's how I was too.
Yeah,
Still am,
I was
still am.
really respectful, like a thoughtful young kid.
Yeah.
But I was just labeled a bad kid because I listened to angry music.
It's very judgy. I
it's
assume
very-
you grew up around here. It's very judgy, right?
Yeah.
Right
that
here,
doesn't help.
Goshen, born and raised. But yeah, so that really kind of fucked me up. Like the more I thought about it, because I think I missed out on a lot of opportunities. Being included, especially when you're homeschooled, you have such a small circle of people
Yeah.
that you're growing up with. I mean, I wasn't just in my own house. We have like a group. We go on field trips,
Yeah.
and we did a co-op. We go every week and do some classes. So as a homeschooler, that's really it. You got those people, and you got church.
Yeah, your
So,
church people.
Your
Yep.
church people, and as soon as I step foot in a church, they see the smoke going up because
You start
I
burning.
had this one lady come up to me one time. I went into church because my parents made me go till I was 18.
Yeah.
I didn't fight it, whatever.
Yeah.
And she came up to me and she was like, "I sense a dark energy from you. Can I pray for you?" And I was like,
Thank you.
I was
Wow,
like,
I
"What
was
the
noticed.
fuck?"
Yeah.
I'm like, I just stayed up all night. I have 3 hours of sleep. Dark energy. What are you talking about, dude? Like, I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
That's beautiful.
Yeah,
Well, hell, I'm
but-
glad that you went to church because you wouldn't have met my sister.
Yeah, I wouldn't have met you.
You wouldn't have met me.
There you go.
There
So,
you go. So
some good can
that
come
was-
out of it.
That was a big W. I'm glad. Good.
Hell yeah.
What about you, Neil? So I don't forget
You
you this
said the
time.
two questions were satanic panic stories or what?
Satanic
Yeah.
panic
Or when you
stories
get judged.
judged about your
Honestly,
musical
I was
taste.
pretty much after the satanic panic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
2000. So I,
think we
don't
all
have
were,
that.
yeah.
I wasn't. Dude, I was right in the heart of it, man.
Yeah.
You
My
were.
age.
Turning 42.
Yeah.
I have a
Satanic
story.
Panic was in the 80s and early 90s.
Yeah, I have a story about it.
Okay, well, all right.
Yeah. Neil's turn.
So before I got into tattooing, I worked at a diesel shipping company. Not going to say the name because
Yeah.
I don't have anything good to say about the management there. And I was alone in the back most of the time. And a couple minutes out of the day, this dude Kevin would come back there. We'll say Jerry. Jerry would come back there, and so I'd be playing music back there, and I'd be playing CDs. This is before iPods and stuff. And I'd play Biohazard and Soulfly and Soil Work and stuff. And none of it said any of this, but for some reason, just because Kevin couldn't understand the screaming, yelling, and roaring, he assumed this. The manager came back and he said, "Hey, Neil, I'm going to need you to play a radio station and not those CDs." And I said, "Why?" And he goes, "Because the lyrics are all about killing cops and raping women." And I was like, "Excuse me?"
Well, that's just half
I was
of
like,
it.
"I don't have
That's
body
just
count. I don't have Brother Lynch hung, boom, boom, pussy guts all over the room." Like, dude, no, man, that's not what the lyrics are about. He goes, "Well, that's what somebody else's company is saying." Kind of lyrics they're hearing. I was like, just because Kevin doesn't understand screaming and roaring, Jerry, I'm sorry, doesn't understand screaming and roaring doesn't mean that's what they're saying. He goes, "No, just put on the radio." And then I have a brother that I don't really get along with. We got into a lot of fights in our teenage years, and we don't talk anymore. But I thought there would be an olive branch. My oldest brother, Kevin, passed away. I thought my other brother, he had autism and he died of double pneumonia at
My
36 about 10
condolences,
years
I'm
ago. Yeah, he was a good dude. But so we're at my brother Kevin's funeral, and I haven't talked to my brother Ed for about 15 years at this point, and I thought this would be like a great time to try and clear the air, make water under the bridge, whatnot. And then, right as I'm about to go up and talk to him, I hear him talking to a group of people, like 6 people that he went to high school with that I haven't seen in years. And they said, "Hey, where's your brother Neil?" And Ed points to me and he goes, "He's over there." And they said, "That's Neil? He's covered in tattoos and he's huge now."
What?
And because I was a little guy when I was.
Oh, really? Oh.
Yeah. And they said, "How's he doing?" And he goes, "I don't know. I don't talk to him. He worships fucking Satan."
Oh my
I was
god.
like, "All right, I need to go. I had to go outside and calm down, have a smoke, and my cousin Lori talked me out of going in there and whack him upside with a chair, WWF. Because I was just like, "Damn, dude, you're such a." I chewed him out after that. Not at the funeral. I waited till he was alone. But anyway, I'm just saying. Obviously, no, I don't worship evil. I'm like a Buddhist Christian hybrid. I'm this weird thing. Nobody knows what I am. But I'm not I'm not. Oh God, no. I'm not an Epstein Island like sacrificing babies to Moloch. No, sorry. So I hate that stigma. Or I don't hate it, but I don't like that stigma where people are like, "Oh, you listen to metal, you must worship Satan." Screw you.
Right.
Yeah, it's so lame. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm to the point where I'm just like, you think I do? I'm honored.
just
Thank
look at
you. I'm already Catholic,
just
and
look at
people
him.
already think that. So neat.
Why not?
Yeah, next time someone says that, it's just like, you're next.
All right, exactly.
What about you, ma'am?
All right, so for me, well, I just said it earlier, I'm Catholic. I grew up Catholic. I still am Catholic. And I genuinely, I love metal music. I love horror. And for whatever reason, that stigmatized Satanist.
Yeah.
And I'm also goth too, so there's that as well. And it's just like, yeah, totally worship Satan.
Yeah.
And for me, though, I've noticed recently, it seems like, I don't know if it's like the goth aesthetic or something, or metalhead aesthetic has become like super popular now to the point where it's more accepted.
TikTok.
Yeah,
Trendy,
because like
Yes,
I walk
100%.
into dressed like myself or dressed in a metal shirt, no one gives a shit.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this was much different from when I was like in middle school
Yeah.
and wearing a Demon Hunter shirt of all things and being like, can I pray for you? And it's like, oh, fuck, man.
What do you not get about that?
Yeah. And, I would always like flip it around at times because I would be like, oh, yeah, you can pray for me. Let's do this right now. And then they'd be like, what? What are you doing? You're not supposed to be doing. I'm supposed to be converting you. And it's
Right,
like,
I'm supposed to save you right now,
I'm
dude.
sorry, I'm already saved. I don't know what to tell you. So yeah, no, that's how it was for me. But the weirdest thing was my parents. They got into this weird Christian-y evangelical thing where all of a sudden my dad, who got me into metal, got me into horror, that all went out the window when he got into this like evangelist thing with these friends that they met, and it kind of really
fucking
fucked
sucks.
it fucked our world upside down because that was how my dad and I bonded.
Yeah.
And I think for me that's when I feel like I really lost my dad.
Yeah.
Like he's still alive, but like I feel like I
It's just
really
not the
lost
same.
him. That bond was
Yeah, you just don't
broken.
have that connection anymore.
Yeah. And
Imagine having a connection with your dad.
yeah. But yeah, no, I feel like that's when I lost my dad. And I remember when they were going through that evangelical shit, they took all my Friday the 13th movies. I had the whole collection on VHS.
No.
I was so mad.
Damn it.
He took his collection of Nightmare on Elm Street movies, and I don't know if they burned them. I don't know if they gave them away. I don't know if they threw them away. I don't know what happened. But there was this point I broke down. I just started crying. And it was also my metal music too. And and my dad goes, "You're acting like you lost your best friend." And I'm like, you know what? I didn't think about it till much later, but I'm like, yeah, no, I did lose my best friend. I lost you, Dad.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was very, very hard going through that and that kind of satanic panicky thing that was going, I was already suffering through depression from other things. And I think just in general, maybe genetically, I had depression in my family,
Sure.
that was undiagnosed. So I think my parents with the evangelical shit are like, oh, there's so much darkness in her. She likes this goth stuff. She likes this music and blah, 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 blah.
The big problem, they lumped it all together. Like there was no like, hey, there's a, they play rock music, but like there's nothing satanic about them at all.
There's a difference between
it
that,
was all lumped together.
Right. I mean,
exactly.
You've got some of those bands that are like, Satan, rah.
Yeah, right.
But then there's some that are just like,
where they write about the girl that left them, but it sounds heavy, or like Killswitch Engage has like all uplifting, positive lyrics, and it's
just
like
people they're just like, oh, pain in my heart, heaven is and there's nothing satanic.
and there's different kinds,
Right,
like,
exactly.
by no means am I saying Killswitch Engage would look satanic, but like to the outside, like screaming vocals and heavy riffing guitar. Oh, that's satanic.
I think it's like it's too intense, and it's got a lot of intense emotions to it that people are just like uncomfortable hearing.
Yeah.
And
but I don't know.
And I feel like for a lot of us, that's what helps us cope. And actually,
it's cathartic. You know? That's what I said. Like, and with being homeschooled too, I was really isolated, and so I had a lot of emotions and everything to deal with.
Yeah.
Sweet.
And
So for me, I have a satanic panic story. So there was a wave of satanic panic type shit in late 80s, early 90s, mid 90s, somewhere around there. And there was a lot of evangelical preachers traveling the country. And I specifically remember this because we had one come into my area. His name was Billy Mayo or Mayer. I forget.
I love that you remember.
Yes, I remember. And I was only probably 7 because my mom at the time, my dad left, and he can suck my asshole. Like, he was never there, whatever. He's not alive now. But so like he wasn't around. So my mom was basically a single parent raising 3 kids. And she kind of got pulled into this satanic panic type shit and brought us to an event. And I don't think she made us bring any of our CDs, but it was like the preacher was encouraging people to bring in their CDs and throw them in piles up front on the stage and shit. And I think we
light them on fire. Like,
I don't know. No. In my mind, no, I'm imagining, because when you think about it as a kid, like, yeah, they were going to burn them. But then I'm like, nah, because they were inside, like we were up at the front. But, me and my brothers, being the little shits we were like kind of with our feet kicking through the pile and like moving shit out and like trying to grab free CDs and shit.
That's wonderful.
So,
ooh, body count.
yeah, it was like, so yeah, that was pretty insane. But to me, that's my most, and that was right in the heart of like the satanic panic type shit. Like, right in the heart of it where, and I remember he said AC/DC stood for Against Christ Devil Children.
No. it was on their sewing machine, alternating current, direct current.
Yeah.
That's on their mom's sewing machine. Yeah, Angus and Malcolm.
Yeah, and there was some other ones that
That's
he had
hilarious.
his explanation for names, but that's what he would tell the parents.
Yeah.
And be like, see, I know this stuff. Like, I'm into it. And it's like, no, you're not, dude. You're traveling the country telling people bullshit to get money. Like, you're basically the preachers nowadays, I don't like that are on TV. Like, I think a lot of them are crooked as fuck. But like that was the early wave of this type shit. And they would do that. They would travel around to these small countries and they'd give him all the money and he would talk his bullshit and then it's burn a bunch of CDs.
Yeah,
It was
that's
total
more
hustle.
evil that's way more evil than whatever the music.
Whatever
could
they think
be.
we're listening
taking
to.
advantage of all those people.
Yeah.
And like with you too, that like kind of ruined part of your life because you're
Fuck it did.
Now, real quick, the only band that I can think of, or the only person in a band that I can think of that I would say straight up worships the devil, and I did not get a good vibe from him, is for the first singer for Deicide, Glenn.
Yeah.
I can't remember his last name, but
I think it was Burton, I thought.
huh?
They're from Tampa, or they lived in Tampa, because
This
they would
guy-
hang out in the bars when I lived in
He
Tampa.
had an upside down cross.
Yeah, burns into his forehead. Yeah.
Now here's the funny thing. So I got a pretty bad vibe from that guy. I tried to sell him some hash. He didn't want to buy it. Drugs are bad. Don't do drugs.
Drugs are bad.
He took it. I offered it. He said he ate it. You don't eat it. Anyway, I got a pretty bad vibe from him, and I'm not going to get too much into the second part of the story because let's just say when I was
Shit happened, huh?
when I was about 27, I owed some very bad men money for some stupid stuff that I was doing, and a couple of them came over where I was living and basically said, "We need you to pay in the next couple months, or you're dead," basically. And
Yikes.
these guys were even bigger than I am, and if you're just obviously you're just listening, but I'm 6'2", 311 pounds, and these guys made me look small. The original singer from Deicide, he makes me look small.
Yeah,
I got the same vibe from these two straight up Stone Cold Killers that I got from the singer from Deicide. So
Damn.
I think there might have been something going. The original singer from Deicide. There might have been something going on there. I definitely got a bad vibe from the dude. So I'm not saying that everybody in metal worships Satan, but I think this guy actually does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't say anything with some of the shit I listen to. It's like half those guys believe that they actually worship Satan.
Right.
Mostly it's
I
just
thought it
being
was
edged.
Burton, but it's Benton.
And
Glenn Benton.
and then the other half, they're just basically Hitler,
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
No, definitely.
Sweet. Well, I know we're running on time, but I just want to kind of close it out and thank everyone. Appreciate all this.
Thank you for having us.
Absolutely.
thank
We're going to be doing a lot more episodes for y'all out there. So we primarily focus with horror stuff that we're interested in, but that crosses all sorts of genres like horror movies, and then also metal as well too. We have some friends that have some oddities type shit that hopefully we're going to be sending your way, so that'll be cool. We do some true crime stuff, cryptid stuff, but we're trying to be doing some events in the area hopefully later this fall, so hopefully that comes to fruition. But
I'm sure hoping so.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you care if I do a shout out for another horror channel?
No, please do.
Oh, shoot out whatever you want.
My buddy Trina from New England, she has a horror channel on YouTube called Real Horror, REEL horror, like movie real.
Nice.
Yeah.
And she pronounces it horror. She's got that New York accent.
I always have to say horror. No, not sluts, but horror. Like the movie. I don't know. Yes, not sluts. Not sluts.
You can find her on
Those
YouTube.
are pretty good too. Yeah.
She does movie reviews every week. She goes back and reviews old horror movies and new horror movies. But yeah, she's good. People have done a couple podcasts with her.
Awesome.
Real horror.
I want to shout out my friend's band, Torture Pig. They fucking suck, but go listen.
That's a great friend.
Oh,
10 out of 10.
Shameless plug. We're on a roll. Keep it going.
Shameless plug. Keep going.
One of my buddies that I tattoo on him and his wife and his kids, his name's Wayne. He's in a band called Unquiet Eddy. They have a track out on YouTube called Unbound that's pretty badass. What's cool about it is they're like kind of Iron Maiden style.
Oh, hell yes.
You'd love it. Oh, it's great. They're kind of Iron Maiden style, but they do have some guttural vocals, but it's mostly Wayne singing kind of Bruce Dickinson style. And he's the drummer and he sings like that. So that's kind of interesting. But yeah, they're called Unquiet Eddy. They got a single out called Unbound on YouTube. They're badass. Check them out.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Awesome. Well, with that being said, we appreciate everyone listening. Y'all have a good night.
Bye. I love you.
Goodbye.